Welcome back to the shed. Thanks for watching my first Grand Tour recap. Yeah, it's been a ton of fun. I've enjoyed these 3 weeks so much. Getting up early, watching the whole stage, and getting to kind of report on it and learn about all these teams and just how the way they operate. Yeah, it's been a ton of fun. I really appreciate you watching. Yeah, today's stage was stage 21, our last day. Totally flat. I think it was officially 500 meters of climbing, which wasn't a whole lot. Officially, the highest point of today's stage was 38 meters. So, 2 days ago, we had at the top of the Passo João was 2,233 meters. So, yeah, the riders have gone through a lot of these last 3 days. They had a flight last night to Rome, and then boom, you got to start a stage today that's not easy. A lot of people assume it's easy, but it's because it's the last day and they think it's a parade. But it really only parades for about 20 or 30 kilometers. That's about it. And then after that, people kind of roll up their sleeves, sharpen their elbows, and really get to work. And it's, a stage of a Grand Tour is up for grabs, so no one takes it lightly. I finished 8 Grand Tours, and every one of the final stages, stage 21s, were never easy. Never easy. Always a little bit harder for me. It was like, because mentally you're shutting down. It's easy. You go ride easy for a few kilometers, and your mind starts to tell you it's over, but it's not over. You still got to suffer one more time for at least like an hour and a half or 2 hours. So and it's fast. It's fast, and if you're not on your game, you might lose out. You might get dropped. Who knows? But yeah, today's stage was 131 kilometers. They kind of rode out to the coast from downtown Rome. They rode out to the coast, kind of up, and then back down, and then back into the city. And they did 8 circuits of 9 kilometers. So it was like a 72-mile kind of circuits, or 72 kilometers of circuits. But before they started, they announced there was one non-starter today, Sean Flynn from Picnic Post. That's a real bummer. He finished stage 20. They flew to Rome last night, and then today I think he woke up and he had some sort of infection, and he's out of the race. So hopefully Sean gets better soon. And so close, it's a real bummer. But yeah, today was the last day of the Giro. We had 15 teams that hadn't won yet. And some teams really itching to win. Those teams like the Unibet Rockets, they've been itching to win. They came with a full sprint team. They didn't bring any other, they brought one pure climber, Wout Poels, but other than that, they brought a team. So the rest of the team, so the other 7 riders were all for the sprint train. They were itching to win. Then we had Little Trek with Jonathan Milan. He hasn't won. Ciccone didn't win. Derek G didn't win. So they were hoping for a win today. Yeah, and then there was a total of 15 teams that haven't won. So there were a lot of teams, ready to kind of take a gamble and see what they could do today. Yeah, it started out, it did about 20 kilometers, really easy. They took a lot of pictures, all the jersey wears, so the pink jersey, the blue Mountains jersey, the purple Points jersey, and the white Best Young Riders jersey. All those riders came up front. That did a lot of pictures there. They did some ceremonial champagne toasts for some of the riders. Yeah, but after about 20 kilometers, it was, I think, around 110 kilometers to go. Yeah, we saw the Visma team on the front riding towards these circuits. What usually happens on the last day of a Grand Tour is the team with the leading rider, the leading team basically, who's got the leader's jersey, they're allowed to kind of ride to the finish line, through the finish line for the first time, kind of up front. So I did that in the Tour de France, 3 different times during the postal years. Yeah, it's a special feeling to be there with your team up front. You had worked so hard in those 3 weeks. You'd given everything possible, and there you are, and you come through the start or the finish line for the first time with the crowd cheering. That's an awesome feeling. It's an awesome feeling to be at the front. But basically, once you cross the finish line for the first time, then the race basically officially starts. The red flag kind of officially starts there. So what's that? So basically the race started with like 72 kilometers to go. Let's see, these were the teams that were really active early on: Alpecin, Bardiani, Polti, Soudal, and Lotto. Extremely active. Then we saw attack from Larry Warbass, he had an incredible day yesterday, and today, he looked very sharp today. I think if the Giro d'Italia was 4 weeks long, I think we'd probably see him winning a stage. Yeah. Let's see, other riders to attack: Nico Dents, Ben Turner, Polti rider Misfud. But nothing was staying away. All the sprinters teams were active and controlling. Soudal, I definitely saw Soudal up there a lot. 60k to go. Soudal was controlling. Jasper Stuyven comes through in a right-hand turn onto part of the circuit had cobblestones also. Kind of a technical circuit. Adam Blythe, who was a commentator on the motorcycle, said the roads were a little bit dusty. So we saw a little bit of, the road was a little bit slippery, and we saw that with Stuyven. We saw him coming around a right-hand bend, and he did a double wheel slide, but a guy with that much experience and talent, he quickly corrected it, and there's no crash, no nothing. But it made you realize, wow, this, they still have some racing left to go. It's not a sure thing that everyone's going to get through this race safely. But from what I saw today, there was no major crashes, and everyone made it through unscathed, so that was awesome. 50k to go. We saw Jai Hindley. I think it was a flat tire. I had to do a bike change. But I noticed he was really cool, calm, and collected, and wasn't freaking out. He was sitting third place on GC, but he made it back to the peloton, no problem. Like around 40k to go, we had two riders go off the front. Rojas from Groupama, Remy Rojas, and Tobias Bayer from Alpecin. They would get 15, 20 seconds at one point, but nothing too serious. Let's see. 28 kilometers to go, going right through the start-finish line with what I think it was like 3 laps to go. We saw Groupama. They still had Remy up front with Bayer, and then we saw Groupama just doing an attack from the peloton, and they sent Remy Cavagna basically up the road. Rojas waited, and then they lit it up. That became a group of 4 up front. We had Remy Rojas and his teammate Remy Cavagna, so we had 2 Remys. 2 Frenchmen. We had Victor Campenarts, who was up there. It looked really strong. And then we had a rider from Lidl Trek, Sobrero, who was just sitting on, waiting for his teammate Jonathan Milan to help him in the sprint. So he was sitting on only 3 riders rotating. Eventually, Remy Rojas, because he had been in the earlier breakaway with Bayer, eventually he'd pull off, and it would just be those 3 up front. Let's see, 14 seconds, 12 seconds, 19k to go, 5 seconds. But right as they were coming back, somebody jumps up, attacks, goes up the road. Who's that? Filippo Ganna. He wasn't. His Giro wasn't done, and he still had something left to say. Who went with Ganna? Sobrero, who was just sitting on the other brake, was able to latch onto Ganna's wheel. I guess they're really good friends. And also Stuyven was smart, and he went on Ganna's wheel. But the only one willing to pull in that group was Filippo Ganna. Why? Stuyven was there. He's waiting for his sprint buddy, Paul Meunier. And Sobrero was there, but he's waiting for his sprint buddy, Jonathan Milan. But Ganna was so strong. 15 kilometers to go, they had 12 seconds. 12 kilometers to go, they had 19 seconds. It's my little guy. 12k to go, 19 seconds. At 12k to go, the Rockets finally got to the front, the Unibet Rockets. Ganna was just so strong. He knew 2 guys were sitting on the back, but he didn't even look back. Wasn't doing the elbow chicken wing. He wasn't even asking them to help, because he knew, so he pulled just flat out. 10 and a half kilometers to go, they had a 20-second lead. 20 seconds. And with a guy like Ghana pulling, that's no guarantee. That's no guarantee at all. They crossed the finish line for the last time, so 1 lap to go. They had about a 19-second lead. Yeah, 18 seconds was 9K to go, 14 seconds with 7K to go. At that point, the full Unibet Rocket team is on the front, giving everything. 6K to go, still 14 seconds. Yeah, 5K to go is 10 seconds. Then with about 4.5 kilometers to go, Lucas Kubish from the Unibet Rockets, he went to the front and finally pulled them back. So I think they caught them just under 4K to go, or about 3K to go. Sorry about that. Mirko Maestri from Pulte took a shot there with like 2.5K to go, but the Rockets were there and were right on it. 2K to go, we had a rider from Trek kind of leading the front with the Rockets. Then we saw Tim Tutenberg. I was teammates with his uncle way back when. We saw him take a monster pull. I don't know, maybe a K, 2K, K and a half to go. Just a monster pull. And then from there, Stuyven took over for Paul Magnier with about 1.1 kilometers to go. Let's see, and Dylan, at that point, Dylan Groenewegen was right on Paul Magnier's wheel. It was Stuyven, Magnier, and then Dylan Groenewegen. And then Milan was right on Groenewegen's wheel. Just came down to a sprint, and it was a little bit uphill, and we saw Jonathan Milan just show his true power today, and he took it easily. It was a huge win by the Lidl Trek team. Amazing work, especially by his teammate Sobrero, who was super active in covering the breakaways and was able to take a pole right there at the end for him. But yeah, it was just really impressive. It was really impressive, and for a team like Lidl Trek, who hasn't won yet in this Giro, they have a bunch of Italians on the team, especially like Ciccone and Jonathan Milan, these big champions. So to win a stage, to win the final stage, which is almost like twice as nice, maybe. Congratulations to them. It was really nice to see all the riders super happy at the end. All the Trek riders super happy. Just giving big hugs to him and high fives. Yeah, congratulations to the Lidl Trek team. They had a great Giro. They had a great Giro today. So today, Jonathan Milan was first. We had Giovanni Lenardi from Pulte second. Paul Pinot from Groupama third. Dylan Groenewegen from the Unibet Rockets fourth. Mattis Mikels from EF was fifth. Jensen Plowright was from Alpecin was sixth. Tobias Lund was seventh from Decathlon. Corbin Strong from NSN was eighth. Toon Arts from Lotto was ninth, and Luca Mazzato from Tudor was 10th. So yeah, and it looked like everybody made it through the stage unscathed, so it was great. Yeah, what a nice finale to watch. Yeah, beautiful. It was so cool, and they rode right by the Colosseum there in Rome. Just so beautiful, so beautiful. Yeah. Congratulations to Lidl Trek and Jonathan Milan. It's a nice way to finish a hard-fought Giro. Yeah, I'll just kind of go through the stage wins real quick. So, stage 1 was Paul Magnier. Stage 2, Silva from Uruguay. Stage 3, Magnier again. Stage 4 was Narvaez. Stage 5, Igor Arrieta. Remember that day? The day of the crashes between he and Eulalio, and Eulalio taking over the lead. Yeah, then we had in Naples, we had Ballerini win with that crash right at the end. Stage 7 was Jonas Vindigo. Stage 8 was Narvaez. Stage 9 was Vindigo again. Stage 10, the time trial there in Viareggio, was won by Filippo Ganna. Narvaez took stage 11. Stage 12 went to Alex Segart from Belgium. Bettiol took stage 13 there in Verbania. Vingegaard won again on stage 14. Then Diveriousness from Norway on the Uno X team won stage 15 in Milan. Valgren, Jonas again, stage 16 on Jonas Vingegaard, stage 16 again. Valgren, stage 17, impressive win by him. Paul Magnier again, stage 18. Stage 19, Sepp Kuss from Colorado. Stage 20 yesterday went to Vingegaard again, and in stage 21, Jonathan Milan. You know, everyone was thinking it was going to be Milan and Milan, but no, it was Milan and Rome. So, you know, for me, it was even better. I think, you know, they had a lot to prove. They had a lot of pressure on them today, for sure. And it was very cool to see. Very, very cool to see. Yeah, and I'll just kind of quick go over the top 5 on GC. And I'll starting from 5th. 5th place, we had Derek G. You know, Derek G was 4th last year. And I come 5th this year after, you know, don't forget on stage 2, he lost at least a minute. And he also came here with a team. Half of his team were just set up for the sprinting team, and then the other half of the team was going for stages, or Derek going for GC. So I wouldn't say Derek G had a lot of support. You know, I think he could have been on the podium. I think he easily could have been 3rd. Not easily, but he could have been 3rd with not being in that stage 2 crash and maybe a little bit more support, other riders supporting him. And, you know, the stage the Sepp Kuss one, I wonder, you know, had he had a little bit more support there, had they put a little bit more time into the chasing peloton, if he could jumped up to 3rd. But yeah, great job by Derek G. He's just got he's not going to be complaining about not having the support, that's for sure. He's just seems like a nice guy. He's just happy to be there. But yeah, I expect to see bigger things from him in the future. Yeah, and maybe more team support. Yeah, but he had a great race, and his Lidl Trek team had a great race. 4th place went to Tijmen Arisman from the Netherlands. You know, Tijmen last year won 2 stages of the Tour de France, 2 mountain stages in the Tour de France. So yeah, he's a rider I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of in the future. He rode like a real champion yesterday. He was starting to struggle on that, remember that steeper part of the final climb? He was struggling there, but he stayed cool, calm, and collected. Let his teammate Egan Bernal kind of carry the workload, and yeah, they were able to catch back, and he was able to save his 4th place on GC. Jai Hindley was third. Sorry. He won. He was 2nd in the Tour in the Giro d'Italia in 2020, and then he won the Giro d'Italia in 2022. But it's been some years since he's been on the podium in a Grand Tour, and I think he's been wanting it for a long time. Maybe he had a few off seasons, but yeah, it was nice to see him back on the podium again. And yeah, that's a big being on the podium in a Grand Tour is a big deal. And you know, Felix Gall, we didn't talk about him a whole lot in this Giro just because it was like he was always being overshadowed by Jonas Vingegaard, but he rode so well, incredibly. You know, the best of the rest. We had Jonas Vingegaard, who was climbing clearly the best out of anybody, and then it was like Felix Gall was the next guy. So Felix Gall's got his own like techno band made a song up about him, and it's just awesome. It's just awesome. We heard it playing. You know, yesterday was just the stage. Yesterday, stage 20 was just south of the Austrian border. So Felix Gall had a ton of fans there, and then we heard that song being played out on the roads yesterday. Congratulations to Felix Gall. Super nice guy. Just really, he's a kind of a quiet guy and just seems like a really nice person. Yeah, I'm excited for him. I hope to see a lot more of him in the future, and I think he's just a big talent. Then first place, Jonas Vingegaard, the first Dane to ever win the Giro d'Italia. I didn't know that, and that's an amazing feat. The top Dane was Jakob Fuglsang. So he was like 6th place on GC in 2020. So that was the highest placed Danish rider ever on the GC. So yeah, Jonas Vingegaard did a great job. What a season so far. He started out with Paris-Nice. He won Paris-Nice. He won the GC. He won the points jersey and the mountains jersey, and he won 2 stages of Paris-Nice. Then he went on to the Vuelta a Catalunya, and he won that, and he won also 2 stages there. And then he goes on to win the Giro and win 5 stages there. So that's incredible. So last year's Tour de France, he was 2nd, and then he wins the Vuelta, and then he wins the first 3 stage races of the year, the Paris-Nice, Vuelta a Catalunya, and then the Giro d'Italia. So any of those people that were disappointed last fall that he didn't finish the European Championships, the one-day race that he wasn't really targeting, anybody that's still disappointed about that, I think just what a season. Going back to last season, from July all the way around to where we are today, he's just been on fire. So again, 2nd in the Tour, 1st in the Vuelta, 1st in the Giro. So his last 3 Grand Tours, 2 wins and 1 second. So yeah, he got some flack last fall for not finishing the European Championships, and I was like, this is crazy. He's a champion. We need to show him a lot of respect. He's now won all 3 Grand Tours, which is he's the only one of this current generation to have done that. He has done that before Tadej Pogačar. So yeah, it was really nice to see him finish today. His wife, his son and daughter were all there, giving him big hugs, all dressed in pink. And you could just see it was a really special moment for him. He could retire tomorrow or today, and his career has just been amazing. It's amazing. So Denmark, I think Jonas Vingegaard deserves his own song. Yep, I think he deserves his own song. Maybe for Slovenia, I think Tadej probably deserves his own song too. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Yeah, I'll be doing a big bike tour this June for 10 of my friends. I'll do a few little stories, a few little YouTube stories in June, and then I'll be covering the Tour de France in July. Why am I doing this? Last year, TV2 Denmark asked me to do some commentating for their print media. So that's why I kind of started watching bike racing again, or watching it extensively. And then they asked me to do it again this July. So yeah, I'll be watching the tour and kind of commenting to TV2 Denmark. And then I'll also be doing my own recaps, kind of like I've done for the Giro. Hopefully a little bit better. And but yeah, it's been a lot of fun doing this. I look forward to seeing you again in July. And yeah, I appreciate you watching. Ciao ragazzi.